But then after, and then shortly he left to UK, he left to United Kingdom, to England. I was in the sect. Many things happened there, many things. In short, when I left the movement, when I left the sect, I tried to recover some things from my previous life. And I got the email of my friend, of this friend, Vishna. We called him Vishna. In Lithuanian it means cherry. Cherry. The story was that he, maybe I shouldn't say this, but now who cares? All of us do good things, all of us do bad things in our lives. But he would be a street kid. He didn't have a very nice childhood and his parents were divorced, so he was a street kid, and sometimes he would go to the crimes, and he had all of his friends, you know, from this criminal life. He got his nickname Vishna because when he was a kid he stole a bucket full of cherries. Vishna means cherry. This is how he got his nickname Vishna. He was a good man, he was a good guy. So he was in England at the time when I left the movement, and I wrote him. I asked him to forgive me for the things, you know. I told him that, you know, all of us do mistakes in our lives, and this was my mistake. And he said, forgive me for the bad things I did to you also. We got to be friends again, you know, wrote some letters. Also he shared me with the things of his situation. He said that he was working there in England, but something happened. He lost his money. I think he started gambling. And he started doing bad things. He started selling drugs there, committing crimes, I think, doing thefts. And he wrote me something. I didn't understand very well, but I think I understood that he was caught by police and he had this trial on some day, you know. And I didn't hear from him. Then I started, I think I was living in my forest already. And one time I came back to the city to see my parents, and my brothers told me that Vishna had come to search for you. He told me. So I realized that my friend came back to Lithuania. Maybe he escaped England because he had like criminal, you know, almost prison awaiting him there. So maybe he escaped it to escape his things. He came back to Lithuania. But at the time I was very sensitive, being in the cities, so I didn't go to visit him. I felt really bad. For me, one day to be in the city would be so energy taking that I would run back to my forest. I would go back. And only like 4 months later, when I came back to the city, Klaipėda, it is called the port city of Lithuania, I decided to pick up all of my strength, to gather all of my strength and to go and see my friend. It was difficult because being in the city for me at those times was extremely difficult, extremely difficult. I was so sensitive. But I remember I went to the shop, I bought bottles, I don't know how many bottles. 2 bottles for me, 2 bottles for him of this Euro beer. Euro Alus it was called, Euro beer. That was the cheapest one, but I bought it because when we were kids, when we were daydreaming of our future, of our playing, you know, live with guitars, imagining playing on the stage, MTV and all these things. we would be drinking this cheapest beer because we couldn't afford a better one. And the cheapest beer was this Euro beer. So I bought this beer and I went to his house, to the house of his parents, to his mother, to, you know, like to remind him our early days. And I remember I was ringing the doorbell for a long time and nobody would open the door. And then finally a man opened the door. I think he was boyfriend of his mother. And I said, "Forgive me, Vishnya is at home? Where is Vishnya?" And the man looked to me strangely and he said, "Don't you know?" I said, "What?" And the man told me Vishnya had died 3 months ago. He had hanged himself. I was like, what? No. No, it cannot be true. Where is it? No, he what the, I mean, he hanged himself, he suicided. No, how? I said, I didn't know this, forgive me. And I left the house. I remember the words were still echoing in my mind and I couldn't understand. I couldn't believe it. I knew it is true, but at the same time I couldn't believe it. It was the first time somebody would tell me about the death of my friend. And he was a good friend to me. He was a very close friend, even though many times he would make me fucking angry with certain things, his qualities, but he was a good friend, and he, Vishnya. And now he was dead. I remember it was a shock, I was like struck by lightning. My friend dead, killed himself. And at the same time I knew that he killed him, that when he came to my house those 3 or 4 months earlier to search for me, if I would have gone to meet him in those days, I would still, if he was still alive and maybe speaking with him, maybe he wouldn't have hanged himself. So I was also feeling kind of guilty for taking so long time. If I would have gotten there, maybe he would be still alive, but now he's not. I remember I went to one place from childhood, walking to the nature, and I drank this beer, this Euro beer myself, thinking, crying, shouting, praying, crying again. It was painful. He was a cool guy, and he was very talented in music. He was very talented in music. For example, just before I entered this movement, the spiritual sect, he switched himself. He was still playing guitar, but he switched himself more to electronic music, and he would be composing with computer. And I remember one time he brought me to my computer this flash key, USB, this song he created with his programs, I don't know, Fruity Loops, I don't know, some song is something. And I remember the song. It was I liked that song, you know, the song that he created. And I would be listening and listening and listening, and then I forgot it. But the fucking thing is, then years later, when I was in Switzerland, I heard this fucking same song on the radio. Somebody stole his song after his death. And this song was like a hit, like a popular song, you know? Electronic music song. Somebody stole his song and I heard it in Switzerland, on the radio. So this is my story with Vishnya. One of many stories that they have. And also a story of my playing guitar, how I also learned to play really fast by putting all of my strength on it, all of my determination. But even when I was in the sect with my master, I would have to work. I worked as a teacher of guitar. I was teaching to play guitar, and of course I had to give all of my money to my master, but in short I learned to play really fast guitar, and it was another thing that I put all of my strength on, and I attained it. But strange is life.